ZmBIZI's Z1 smartphone has a feature you won't find anywhere else. It pays its users. We'll learn all about its unique interface and market approach from the company's CEO, coming up on this edition of Techschanges. Hi everyone, I'm Ross Rubin, Principal Analyst at Reticle Research, and welcome to Techschanges. Today my guest is Alpesh Patel. He's CEO of ZmBIZI, a new smartphone company looking to redefine the data relationship between users and their devices. Alpesh, thank you so much for joining me today.
Great to be here, Ross. Thank you very much.
So we spoke pretty recently, and you told me that you didn't think that the world necessarily needed another smartphone. So with that in mind, why don't you tell me a bit about what led you to create this device and who are your target users?
So, coming from just a quick background, coming from a mobile device space for the last 30 odd years, my last corporate role was a director of Motorola Middle East and Africa. And in 2007, I set up Africa's first mobile device brand called MyPhone, which we ran for about 8 years, sold a few million devices on the continent, and then exited the business by selling to a larger conglomerate. One of the reasons for exiting is really the commoditization of smartphone industry. It's become such an industry which is extremely risky business to be in, and also at the same time, the influx of the Chinese brands really put a lot of pressure on price. So I swore to myself that my next project will never be based on price. It has to be based on value, right? It has to be, but I don't know how to make pizzas. I know cell phones. So I have to continue with the cell phone industry. And, the smartphones are not going to disappear. In fact, more people are going to have smartphones because of the influx of 5G coming. So I don't know if you know, you probably do, but in the next 5 years, about 2 to 3 billion people on this planet will be upgrading their phones from 4G to 5G. So the device is not leaving anyone any day soon. You leave your wallet behind or something, but you'll never forget your phone. So, but at the same time, you got to understand, does the world need another phone? No, it doesn't. Does the world need another OS brand? No, it doesn't. People seem to be quite happy with what they have. But how do we bring a little bit of what we call familiarity, but with a difference? How do we create a new category within the smartphone industry, considering that, you've seen the recent news that LG, for example, has exited the business, leaving a massive 9% market share open in the US. That's if somebody doesn't go for that 9%, then it's going to end up being shared between Apple and Samsung. And you just cannot have any industry that has a duopoly. So it's the timing for ZmBIZI is perfect, where yes, we're coming out with a smartphone, but it's not really the phone business, because if it was the phone business, trust me, I will be the last person to do it. I've done it for a long time, and it's not the safe business. But what we said is that what are people familiar with? It's that device. They know it, they see it every day. So we had to bring in a new ecosystem that we've developed, a software-based ecosystem, but we had to put it in a platform that's easily understandable. And that's why we created ZmBIZI, which is basically a curated system, hardware and software combined, to really create a new category within smartphones, and a category based around the consumer, where the consumer is getting rewarded for looking at this screen 500 times a day. Today, they're not getting anything back. So we wanted to change that narrative.
So you talk about the timing in terms of the arrival of 5G, but there are other factors kind of affecting the timing now. We're emerging from one of the worst health crises of the past 2 centuries. And also, it's a very competitive time in the smartphone market, very difficult for companies to achieve profitability. So tell me how you're trying to fit into those trends.
Samsung has, maybe probably making $500, $600, $700 a box. So the difference is that, and they're collecting a lot of money from all the tech partners as well. Apple collects probably 10 to 12 billion dollars a year from Google to be on every iPhone. I use an iPhone as my second phone. I'm yet to get $1 in the mail from Apple for my contribution to that ecosystem, right? So what we're doing is what the others are not doing. They're not sharing. So we're creating a sharing economy. And today, quite rightly, Apple can go and give all its 2 to 3 billion users $100 each and still have enough left in the bank. But they're just not doing it. Why? It's because they report to Wall Street. Whereas we want to create something for Main Street, right? So that is one of the main reasons of saying, also with the fact that every time the new phones are coming out, people are not upgrading as much, right? Because they're quite happy with the phone they bought 6 months ago. They don't need a phone every quarter, and they don't need to pay these extortionate prices. So we had to bring what we call aspiration within reach. How do you create a luxury offering but make it accessible? You know, everyone wants the black Amex. It's called aspiration beyond reach. But with a black ZmBIZI card and a ZmBIZI phone, it's called aspiration within reach. You can actually have it. So it's very much a part of our whole philosophy on really making sure that the consumer is really in the center of it all.
And in terms of building that aspirational model, what are some of the special things you're doing on the device? There are a couple of firsts in this product, yes?
Just to let you know, this is a device we created with our partners, completely made. It's our own mode, it's our own trademarked design. ZmBIZI, as you know, just to give you some quick information on the brand, it's named after the great African river. It's a minority play. We're a minority company. It's a minority play on Amazon. ZmBIZI being a river system, an ecosystem that sustains the population of about 5 countries in Africa. 50 million plus people get nourished every day from this river. So we wanted to create a digital version of that, an ecosystem that nourishes people. The way it's spelled is very tech friendly, but the BIZ is because this is a business tool, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. And IZI because it's extremely easy to use. It's still a phone, right? So what we did, Ross, just to very quickly show you, is we built this, we've taken an Android device, Google certified, but we built our own launcher in it, which is a patented launcher. And as you can see, there is a revolving mobile digital billboard. So in terms of the target demographic, this is basically what we call passive advertising. You know, I haven't locked my screen and I'm just seeing these ads flash up. But of course, we're not in it just to make ad dollars, because that's what everyone else is doing as well. But one of the key features of this phone is the fact that it is really a combination of fintech, health tech, ed tech, ad tech, all combined under one 6-inch screen. It is really there to deliver convenience. And with some of the partners that we have, because we're not a known brand, a very new brand, some of the partners that we have adds that initial element of trust until we build our own goodwill in the market. So there's a lot of features here that I can go through. I can go through some first. THX, who's on the phone, we're the first phone in the world to have THX spatial audio. That is really a revolutionary kind of technology that we've been honored to be able to deliver it first.
And of course, another unique thing about the device is the interface that the portal where you have all kinds of opportunities for your users to interact with your partners.
Yeah, so basically, you know, there's a lot of, we've got 17 partners on this screen, and we believe that, you know, there's 4 things people need in their lives to really become productive. You need health, you need wealth, you need to learn, and you need to play. And under those 4 categories, we've assembled a pretty decent set of initial partnerships. So the key thing here is that we've got a proprietary rewards wallet built into the phone. It captures your activities and it converts them into points. When you get to $50, you press redeem, and the money goes into your ZmBIZI black debit card. You go straight to the ATM and you take your cash. It's a very simple, raw form of loyalty and fintech. But the real reason why we're doing this, it's part of our social program as well, is to really help people in the communities to be empowered. You know, a lot of people, like you rightly said, have really been affected heavily and badly by COVID. Jobs have been lost. There has been more automation coming on board, as you can see from the success of some of these tech giants over the last 12 months. People will have no choice but to become their own entrepreneurs. People have no choice but to maybe drive a cab during the day, maybe teach yoga at night, you know, maybe do 2 or 3 different things, and is, you know, gig economy workers. So what we built into the system is what we call tap in pay. Now, tap in pay is really a revolutionary application, and I'm just going to show you a quick demo. So let's say this is perfect for what we call micro merchants in the communities. I'm a gardener, I clean pools, I'm a yoga teacher. So let's say, Ross, I come to your place and I say, sir, I wash cars. Can I wash your car? And you'll be like, okay, no problem. And I say it's $20. And you will tell me, okay, no problem, but I don't have any cash. because there is less cash going to be in circulation. I'll say, no problem, give me your contactless enabled card or your iPhone, and we will just tap it to the back of the phone, and we will accept your payment. On a smartphone, I've been able to take a payment. This today does not exist. Not even Apple or Samsung can accept a payment on their phone. You can make tap and pay payments, but you can't accept. The thing here is that you can also, it's all properly PCI compliant. It's verified by Visa and MasterCard. You've got the digital receipt here. You can see the time of the transaction. I can even perform a refund in case you're telling me that, oh, you know what? I don't like the way you wash my back wheels. I'll be like, okay, sir, I'll give you a refund. So I'll take your card again. I will sign as the merchant. And I will process your refund. It even gives you the ability to have different catalogs of products. So I could be doing manicure, pedicure, and I can then, of course, the next evolution of it is to tie it up with our SME tools where your back-end paperwork is done as well. So we want to give the tools to the people in the communities who are either existing 1-2-man shows or want to now get into business as a sole provider of services or product, and give them the tools so that they can focus on what they do best, and they know they have a tech system around them that gives them the best of technology, but in an easy manner.
And after the being shut in that we've experienced for the past year, people are certainly going to be eager to interact with local folks.
It really is a way to build communities. We're not saying that this, for example, won't work on online. It's not an online system. It's a card present. You've got to be in front of the person who's paying you. And I believe that as markets open up, I think there will be more empowerment towards communities so they can sustain themselves, and people buying bread from their local baker rather than going to a superstore 10 miles away.
So speaking of cards, I wanted to return to the stored value card that's part of the ZmBIZI experience. How does that work? Do you fill out a form when you get the device? Is it mailed to you?
Yeah, so every ZmBIZI phone comes with a free debit card. You as soon as you get the phone, you sign in, you enter your details like your date of birth, social security number, and you get instant approval for the virtual card, the one that I just showed you. And about 5 days later, you'll get your physical card in the mail, because we're very much saying that we also want to be part of people's offline world as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a debit card. It's no credit checks required or anything. And of course, you can only spend what's on the card.
So let's talk about distribution. I believe you launched a couple of weeks ago, and of course, here in the U.S., phone distribution is dominated by the carriers, and those relationships can take quite a bit of time to build. So I imagine you're starting out going direct. Given the revenue model that you're pursuing, are the carriers interested? Has it been an obstacle? Do they have interest in having an icon on the portal themselves?
Right. Great questions. One of the things about being a startup and completely self-funded up to now, we haven't taken a dollar in VC money, because we've been so focused on building the product. 2 years ago, people thought we were crazy. There's no way you're going to be able to pull it off. Even last year, we actually launched at CES in Las Vegas in January 2020. The phone that I'm showing you now was actually meant to be released last June, but then COVID hit. So we had to go back to the drawing board and kind of like, but the timing is right now. And I think everything happens for a reason at a certain time. We launched about 6 weeks ago. Very happy to say that we have shipped a few hundred devices already into the US market. We have received revenues, which is very unlike a lot of tech companies that maybe don't generate revenues for many years. It helps us also keep the lights on. It's really is a kind of an old school business model, but into the new age as well. The distribution is very different. We are going direct to consumer. We believe that more and more consumers are getting used to buying consumer electronics online, as they do on Amazon and Best Buy. We believe that having an offering online where we can communicate directly with the consumer gives us that direct connection with them. In that way, we'll be able to send them newsletters regularly. We'll be able to build that brand loyalty. referral programs and everything. And so far, yeah, it's been great. But of course, we know that the US market is 90% carrier driven. It's been, we haven't really attempted to speak with a lot of carriers because of the fact that there is an extensive amount of talks you need to get into. And, the carriers will buy what moves off the shelf. And to be very honest with you, ZmBIZI is not just going to move off the shelf because there's a marketing element required. So people are just taking product which they're used to, Apple, Samsung, Apple, Samsung, Apple, Samsung. If you look at all the providers today and their portfolio on their website, it's the same thing. iPhone 10, iPhone 12.
It's funny you should say that because I just went through that exact exercise for an article I was working on, visiting the phone portfolio pages of the major carriers. And yes, it's a grid, row after row of Apple and Samsung devices, new Apple and Samsung devices interspersed by some refurbished Apple and Samsung devices, with the occasional LG, and of course they're leaving the market soon.
Correct. So you're not giving the consumer any choice. But I can tell you valid proof of some of the consumers who have bought our ZmBIZI phone and they've unboxed it. One guy even put his Samsung to the side. He said, "Why would I use this when I have this?" So it's all about the consumer being aware that there is ZmBIZI there as an alternative provider. Now, our device today is dual SIM. It's unlocked, which is 10% of the US open market. We're not going mainstream. We don't believe that we have anything close to Apple and Samsung in terms of muscle or power and money. But that's not the way we want to go. We want to create that 8-lane on a 7-lane highway. So we want to create this new category. And it really is about the target audience as well. We're a Black-owned tech platform in the US. And, our core focus is urban, multicultural, millennial, Generation Z, Black, Latino, Asian, white kids, very much in tune with our partnerships in the hip hop music industry. So that's the medium that we're using to pass this message. So just to touch on the inspiration that we get is what happened with Beats by Dre, what happened with Puffy with Ciroc Vodka, what Kanye has done with sneakers, and what Rihanna has done with Fenty makeup. It's all about creating trends from the culture that then become mainstream tomorrow. In the case of ZmBIZI, it just never has been done before, where there's a merger of technology with the culture.
Well, those are certainly some successful examples to strive for. I wanted to close by talking about what you're seeing for the future. In terms of future models, do you plan to go upstream, go downstream? Do you plan to support other phones with your portal software, or perhaps even other kinds of devices?
Yeah, one of the key things here is that in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see more of a rewards-based economy created. We are just starting off with the phone that pays you. But can you imagine in 5 years' time, the car that pays you, the fridge that pays you, the TV that pays you? Because everywhere you're going, you're sharing your data. That really is how ZmBIZI is going to evolve over the next few years. But for now, obviously, at very early stages, we've launched. We have brought out our first device, and we're working right now on the second device, which will be our Android 11 device. It'll be more of a mid-tier. When I say mid-tier, it'll be more around the $500 price point. One thing I want to make very clear is we're not doing $50 handsets.
Mm-hmm.
I can make a $20 handset tomorrow. But the problem there is that, the market that we're targeting, people want to have aspirational products. It's very good to have, I would rather have quality over quantity. It's very important that we give the right quality camera, they'll give the right quality of the processor, and at the same time the speed of the apps and the transaction speed, and having the right servers and everything in place. So there is a little bit of investment that we've had to make around the R&D and everything. And what I showed you has already been filed. The patents have been filed. So we do want to build on the patent portfolio by introducing more rewards-based systems. So and AI, so that it kind of gets used to what you're doing, and it starts giving you information based on your likes and your habits. But that's going to take time. So it is the start of a very, very long road. We're starting in the US. But we will be going global. We've had inquiries already from Latin America and Africa, but we're very much focused on the US for the first 9 months.
Very exciting. Well, Alpesh, I want to thank you again for being my guest today, and I look forward to seeing ZmBIZI's progress.
Thank you very much for having me. And yes, I'll definitely keep you updated.
And that's going to do it for this episode. If you'd like to learn more about ZmBIZI, you can visit its website at zmbizi.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Ross Rubin, or visit my company's website at reticleresearch.com. Also, please check out my other podcast, Techspansive, where Sean Dubervac and I go over the week's big tech news stories. For Techschanges, I'm Ross Rubin.